Morning, everyone. My name is Theo, and I'm going to talk about hesitation disfluency in spontaneous speech. Also, the meaning of and ah. Human speech is peppered with ums and ahs. Among these are other signs of hesitation in the planning of process. But are these so-called filler or field pauses intentionally uttered by speakers, or are they side effects of difficulties in the planning process, and how do listeners respond to them? The present paper reviews evidence concerning the productions in and comprehension of fillers such as and in an attempt to determine whether they can be said to be words with meaning that are understood by listeners. To conclude, listeners are highly sensitive to hesitation disfluencies in the speech. There is little evidence to suggest that they are intentionally produced or should be considered to be words in the conventional sense. When humans communicate, their messages are conveyed by more than just the word they use. They can, for example, use gesture to indicate what a phrase such as this one refer to, or change their tone of voice to show the assertions that they love linguistic is not to be taken as face value, as well as these additional components of communication. The word of unprepared spoken language are likely to be accompanied by a range of unintentional errors. If, for example, a speaker exchanges the one set of two words by perhaps saying "downboard" when intending to say "bonjour," it is highly unlikely that the exchange is intentional, and the occurrence of accidental speech errors like this may inform us about the nature of speech planning between these extremes of intentionality disfluencies, or the false starts, repetition, and hesitations that accompany the word that speaker plans and utter. Averaging across several studies, Fox 3 estimated that approximately 6% of words uttered are or are affected by some form of disfluency. These disfluencies may not always be accidental. It has been argued that some type of disfluencies should be counted amongst the tool the speaker has for communicating to the listener, alongside things such as tone of voice. Others, such as false started, may be due to speakers editing their own speech. Chief among the potentially communicative disfluencies are the so-called fillers such as and which mark a hesitation on the part of the speaker in this paper. We investigate the role played by hesitation in human communication with a particular focus with fielders and the communicative goals they may serve. Here's my table of contents. First, where do disfluencies such as fielders occur throughout? Next, what are hesitation disfluencies and cognitive load? Third, what's the meaning of and are? In the end, I will tell you guys how to reducing disfluencies in spontaneous speech. After all of this, I will show you a short video of a short talk between Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal and see how they using fillers then explain why they are using the fillers. Investigate of where disfluencies such as fillers occur throughout uh, utterance have established that they are more likely to occur before content words such as low frequency, low color name. However, Betty and Butterworth come to a different conclusion when they investigated the distributional properties of these fluencies across a set of recording of two-person communications. They showed that both low-frequency contents word and those rated as contextual improbable were likely to be preceded by hesitations such as fillers when the frequency was held constant. Contextual probabilities still predict disfluencies. Rather than attributing disfluency to cognitive load, Beatty and Butterworth suggest that speaker might be aware of an element of choice in selecting words with low contextual probability and were more likely to be disfluenced for this reason. Next, not enough practice. Research also shows that do more practice can reducing hesitation disfluencies in your speech, and it can also reduce the mood of hesitation very well. Next, we what are hesitation disfluencies and what is cognitive load? In spontaneous speech, any forms of nonsense pauses are called hesitation disfluencies. One of the most common one is fillers. And what is cognitive load? It is a process that you are phrasing your words and thinking about how to pronounce the word and what it means. The research shows that there is more likely a filler throughout after a cognitive load. Next. Now let's move on to the next part. What's the meaning of and are? Their meaning is no meaning. Um is a longer delay and is a brief delay. Although there's no meaning in these two words, the study shows that people are more likely to memorize the contents that comes after and are. In the field of linguistics, some believe that and art means someone is trying to throw out an opinion or phrasing what they are going to say next and lead the listener to the point which the speaker wanted to send. Last but not least, how to reduce this hesitation disfluency in spontaneous speech. First, as I have mentioned in the very beginning, do more practice. Do more practice can make you more confident and fluent about your speech. Next, choice of word. You should choose the word you are familiar with instead of some words which are uncommon and difficult. This can also help you do your speech more fluency because the words in your speech are those words you know very well. And there's this chance that you have a cognitive load, which only happens when you are not familiar with the words. Finally, using silent pause. You should get used to use a silent pause. It is one kind of phrasing, and we all need to learn how and when to use it, but not using fillers. Now, I would like to share you a video from YouTube, and let's see how fillers are here in our daily conversation. and let's see how many times and what kind of fillers throughout the speaker in this video. Skip this part. Alright, as you can see here, I have made a small record to count out how many times do the speaker use the fillers and which one is the most frequent. The first one is and it has been used once. The second one is it has been used 10 times. Next, like, it has been used twice. Next, yeah, it has been used twice. After is, I mean, it has been used once. The final one is, it has been used once. In my opinion, uh, and yeah can be considered as the speaker was thinking about what he wants to say and which word he should use. You know, I mean, like, are more likely throughout when the speaker wants to the listener to agree with his opinion and reach a consensus. So this is my presentation today. Thank you for listening.